recording. You might have to. Oh, no, it's recording. But there you go.
It's recording.
Okay. So I can start admitting people?
Yep.
I can do that.
Yep. Let them all in.
Is there anyone there?
Yep.
And Kim scored Martin. Oh.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Just getting everyone in. We just had a few tech issues. Thank you for coming in and waiting in the lobby. Just getting a few more people in. All right. Well, let's get started since we're a few minutes over time for starting. But welcome everybody to our mentoring session today. And today, we've got some exciting things coming up and listening to. But more importantly, this is always a small group, the mentoring. So please feel free to take yourself off mute and ask any questions at any time. If you don't feel like talking through your computer and showing your face, we'd love to see your faces though, please just then type in the chat what questions you have, and Lisa will be able to see it immediately and let us know that someone's asked a question. But yeah, today is about learning, but also asking questions and us all having a conversation all together. So on behalf of the Franchise Council of Australia, I want to welcome Peter Nikolakopoulos, and he is the founder and owner of the Allstars Academy. And if you want to know what that's about, Pete's going to tell us everything that's about. And this is today, he's talking about dreaming big, which is what he did when he wanted to start this business, first of all, and then, massive franchise business. So I know we're going to learn lots today. So over to Peter.
You're on mute, Pete.
Oh, you're on mute, Pete.
There you go. Thank you, Helen. And welcome everyone for today. I just want to say how good it is from the Franchise Council to do something like this, because back in the day, I just recall, I was just thinking back what I had to do to potentially speak to someone that had done, had franchised and had some experience. I would almost pretty much stalk people and ask them for a coffee to have an opportunity for 20 minutes of their time. So well done on the initiative, what you guys are doing, because I think there's always, a golden nugget that you get out of speaking to anyone. And I still do with everyone I speak to, is always learning. So well done on that path. So just a quick little background, founder and CEO of the Allstars Academy, which has been almost a 20-year journey, an overnight success, as they say, that has evolved over many, many years as well. We had a video to play, but if you just have in the background, Helen, for me, it sort of takes us through a bit of a journey of where we are, sort of where we began and where we are today. So I think the important thing that I'd like to sort of start off with from our background of where we started was Allstars Academy. So it was a one brand in my head that I saw an opportunity in the market where I wanted to, obviously being an ex-soccer football player, then being a coach in the field, I saw a massive opportunity where things weren't done correctly and how we could do things and help kids and coach them correctly. So it was sort of the outset, sort of the idea that I had. And then at that particular time in my journey, I was working in a completely different field in hospitality. So I suppose a couple of key things that happened throughout my journey was that you get to a point in life where you want to find your passion. You want to find what really makes you tick and want to get up and you don't think about it. And for me was that sort of the coaching, mentoring, and working with kids and creating a.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, muted
You're
me.
on mute, Pete. Sorry.
Yep, back again. So in the background in the video, you can sort of see a bit of a journey we've gone through from football, but I'm going to break it down for you, and then going into what was football, then into Allstars Academy with a variety of different sports, which we'll go through. And then the evolution of that is now the Allstars Academy, which is now introducing more than sport. So we're following the journey of kids from today, tomorrow, and the future. And it's enabling us to continue to evolve, continue to grow our business, our model, our franchise model, and really set us apart from other competitors, right? Because it's a pretty saturated or competitive space, and being able to do that has allowed us to be in a position to continue to grow and evolve. Maybe click the slide for me, Helen, and I'll go through the next bit.
Yep.
I think so from what we sort of talked about where we are at the moment with the Allstars Academy franchise model, and creating a pathway to thrive, I think it's important to sort of know a little bit about sort of what we do as a business. You can click the next one. And very, very important, having some values that are not only for my team, but it's also for the franchise team, and then it's also for whoever the franchisees are bringing on board. So very, very important. This is obviously evolves as well, but it's very, very important to look at things like that, that we have trust, helpful, respect, innovative, versatile, and excellence. You implement those things within your own team, within yourself, within your own team, but then also within the franchisees team as well, and it makes a lot of good synergy as well. Next one, Helen.
Oh,
cool.
I've gone
All
one
right.
too far.
That's okay. Well, just a quick little footprint where we are today. National franchise, over 100 franchises across Australia. Wanting to go to, we're in 300 plus locations. Want to get to 1,000. 100 franchise plus. Want to get to 300, and have over 1 million children. Have creating a pathway to thrive. So having where we are, we want to get to. But I can honestly think about the time where we're at 5 and 6, or 1 and 5 and 6, and it was all about how do we get to 10, then how do we get to 20, how do we get national, and it is these small little steps that we'll go through in the next slide as well. That I think it's important for people to know that how it all works. But to put everything into perspective now about thinking big and planning big is very, very important to do so, I believe, from the outset, as early as possible. And a lot of the things that you're sort of seeing in our journey, so from when we first started, like I said, it was football, it was one brand. In that moment where I created and said, and I went through pretty much a 2-year process early in the beginnings, 2007, 2008, well and truly before. It was almost like when I went back to school and focused on, okay, I've got something good going, I've got a really good business. I now want to take this. It always was with the vision of, I always think big. I'm never thinking 2 or 3 sites. I'm never thinking just Victoria. I'm always thinking, I want to go national. I always think international. It's just the way my brain ticks. But in doing so, in that time in the early days, why I say think big but start small is because in the view of coming in and creating a Allstars Academy franchise network, what was created or what was developed early in the time was, you can do this in more than one sport. You can do this across, multiple sports. And it was because of the fact that I believe that I worked with some really good experienced people at the time when I was setting up, who challenged, who talked, who sort of obviously mentored me in a way that were able to look at different things. And as simple as it sounds, in that process, when I was going to launch one brand, I actually developed and had the whole concept put to paper, was for Allstars Academy. So no one knew about Allstars Academy. It was all about the one brand. So the way that we approached it was to go to market and obviously open up 1 or 2 locations, then start to franchise, which took a bit of time. But all from the outset, I knew that I was going to work on one particular brand, prove the model, get it to a certain number, open it up, nationally. So open up in other states, not only Victoria. And that was going to give me the confidence which gave us the confidence in our systems and process that we talk about. And then it was a really exciting time when we decided it was the right time to now introduce Allstars Academy as our overarching brand. With now that is endless, really. Where what our kids are playing, so AFL footy, basketball, cricket, etc. Once again, we didn't release all of these things at once. It's more about small steps, but I think the key message here is looking at what service you're providing or what business you've got. If you could think outside the square, what potentially could you do with this business if it was you had no restrictions and you were able to do something? The earlier you can think about the bigger picture and the plan is going to help you with it in the long run, because it all then comes down to other things that you're going to need to implement as well. And that comes down into technology. So what we did throughout early stages of football is then we then developed the Move It platform, which is obviously a big investment, but that was also, I think, a key element of what your success is going to look like, the confidence to be able to grow, and thinking big as well, because you've got two options. Option one is you use third party providers, very limited. They're not going to grow as you're growing as well. You're going to be limited in what you can do within the payment gateways and other providers that you need. Or you say that obviously you back yourself and you're able to do something. What we did is we created all of our IP. We created our own Move It platform, which is the vehicle for us to have our franchisees to have their own dashboard, but for us to be able to create a Allstars Academy and have the ability to keep adding brands to our platform as well. So if I take you a step back, we would have one brand with one website, a second brand with another website, and so on and so on. So very quickly you realize that that's going to limit your growth. So depending on what you do, for us, looking at the future, it wasn't about just football anymore. It was about how we're going to grow this into a multi-brand business, how we're going to grow this nationally, not state by state, but nationally, and then potentially internationally. What do we need? And I'm talking, we're talking 10, 15 years ahead. So it's about thinking about the bigger picture, where you possibly could go, and then looking at some key elements are going to be obviously your model, really looking at the potential of your brands and what other brands you can do. And then I think the important thing is then when you're actually launching things. So I don't launch everything at once. It's very much strategic on when we brought in another brand of basketball, when we brought in AFL, then we did cricket. So looking at timing and also understanding your customers. We always do customer research. We're always asking our customers, obviously students with their parents and mums are probably the 70 or 80% sort of decision maker. So talking to a lot of mums, and also schools are our facility partners. That's where we run our academy from. So we use schools to run our facility. So understanding what and constantly researching what schools and what kids are wanting, and also what parents want as well. So as the journey continued from one brand to Allstars, slowly introducing a technology piece that we own, to then strategically bringing out other brands due to demand, and understanding the local markets. We then moved into the Allstars Academy, which has now become our overarching company, and that now includes sport, wellness, arts, gaming, entrepreneurship, and now STEM. So slowly we're going to be moving on to introducing these. Well, STEM will be the first one, followed by wellness. But this is also 3 years in the making. So from a TEA perspective, and it's now only going to see our first brands. So just to let's click a slide just to go through sort of the journey. That's fine. Like I said before, having a purpose-led organisation, and I know that any entrepreneurial franchisor that's listening to this is purpose-led, and honestly, it's one of those things that I have instilled and always believed from day dot, and always passed on to my franchisees is when you go in to do something that you love and you're passionate about, and you deliver an awesome job and service, the financial rewards will come. I've never done this with the mindset of I want to create a sports star or a sports star franchise business to be, to make tens of millions of dollars. It's always been that I actually am really passionate about developing and helping kids, which is the future, and how we can do that through sport, and now more than sport. And then financially, the rewards have come and are continuing to grow as well. So I think that's important too. What's it all about? And then also you then recruit similar franchisees on board that have the same sort of mindset as well about being purpose-led, and then financial rewards come. It all comes down to your modelling as well, with obviously depending on your model, but ours is a cost-effective model. But the key for us is getting kids active, which is so important, and getting more. It's just becoming more and more important. Got 2 young kids myself. How important it is to, even in my world where you think I've got everything set up for my kids too, they need to be doing these programs. If they're not part of Allstars Academy, my daughter's not doing tennis, my son's not doing soccer, if we didn't have these programs, they wouldn't be moving their bodies too often, because it's not the similar. They don't just come home and then go to the park anymore. They don't do that. They don't go in the backyard. It is the way today's society is, and we've developed something and moved with the times that is understanding where today's families are and kids, which are completely different to where they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. It's moving differently, and how we can accommodate that as well. Let's go to the next one. So the key thing as well is always understanding why and obviously most of you or all of you will have the problems that you're solving, because obviously in a business you want to be making sure that there's a demand there for you. And the top 3 problems that we're solving, we're getting kids active, obviously, which is a forever growing concern for communities, families, etc. And what can we do to help that? Do our little bit. Giving parents back time, I think this is very important. How we assist parents is when you think about being able to provide them a program that they can that is offered to them locally, local schools, don't have to travel too far, but also looking at where we can offer things before school, during, after school weekends. So basically, there's no time. There's so many times in the week that they can take on. We can provide a service to them, which makes their life hopefully a lot easier as well. And the one business, so basically the way we set our model as well is that they join the Allstars Academy with one registration. They are then able to choose what sport they want without having to register for basketball, register for footy, register for cricket. That's all done under the one registration, one company, and then being able to facilitate that. So once again, that's something that we think about early in the piece, because as you get more advanced, the more franchises are on, a lot harder to make some of these decisions. So these decisions were made as early as possible to help with our vision and growth of how big we wanted to become. And we always wanted to become multi-brand, et cetera, from the beginning, even though we started with that one brand from the start.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next slide? So just an engaging community, the next one, just obviously on social media and the way we do things. Obviously, franchising is what we've selected and what you're part of as well, which I love franchising. I think it's the best way to really help not just, myself in the sense of we created a franchise model. I really get a lot. I love what we do and how we nurture and help kids grow, but also the franchisees to be able to do something. We assist them and help them to own their own business. And I really, really enjoy bringing on people, training them and helping them find their pathway to thrive as an adult, as a business owner. And also where we're so invested in this as well, where you know that you're giving them the best training, ongoing support, the best systems, and the technology, and we're forever investing and making this network continue to grow, continue to thrive, and keep evolving. So as you can see in a short journey, really in the franchising journey, we've sort of been over 10, 11, 12 years, which is fairly young. We've done our first cycle of 10 years, now going on to their second 10 years. It's a 10-year term. So we are now starting to see people roll over 10 years, which is a great sign. But it's so important that, when you look back and I speak to, we have our conferences and I speak to someone that started with me 10 years ago, and I said to him, what was it like 10 years ago compared to now? Like the amount of progression, enhancements, using technology that we've done throughout is crazy. It's immense. So it's very, very important to have the mindset that where you are today, we're going to be tomorrow. You need to reinvest. You need to be smart about what you need to do in it, but always think about, if your aim is to have 50, 100, 200 national, whatever, think bigger than that, because then it's going to be a lot. I believe it's going to be a lot. Nothing's easy, but it's going to allow you to get there. If you think too small and you hit somewhere and you're going to try and make these changes, it's going to be very, very detrimental to your business, and it's going to stunt your growth, and it's not allow you to get there. So I think it's very important I keep on saying think big, but franchise model across Australia. And we're pretty proud and excited to say that we have now sold master franchise. I'm not going to go into too much, but to India and the UAE and Indonesia is coming up. So there's a whole international growth that's happening, which for me, I pinch myself moment about that as well. But a lot of work to be done there as well. So the brands. So we talk about how we did it, but we've obviously started with one. The whole vision when I first started was just a football one. But during that early stage of development and going through where it was all then developed that, we can do this across all sports. There's no issue. And then obviously we've now developed a second brand, third, fourth, and it goes up to sort of 12, 13 brands across sport. And then the next slide is then the Allstars is the more than sport. So is what we talked about before. So I think the key element here is that with the correct, with the correct vision initially has helped us set up, because then we've set up the right technology for it, but also have been able to see from the modeling perspective how this could grow and how we could have multi-site and multi-brand franchisees. So now I don't need to, example, in our business, you'll own a territory, which would be, 3 or 4 suburbs. That person could own a Allstars Academy franchise, but now he can then eventually own STEM. He could own basketball, so he becomes a multi-brand, or he can buy another territory. So we've now enabled our entrepreneur franchisees to come in where they're not just pigeonholed onto one brand, they're now thinking bigger as well. So the last sort of probably 5 years, I've been really focusing on who we bring on board. Are they more open-minded? Can they think bigger? Yes, they're coming in with their passion, their drive. However, can they look at the bigger picture and say, well, if there's demand and opportunity within the network, why couldn't I be multi-brand and why couldn't I be multi-site? And it's all linking back to having the one platform as well. Next slide. So I mentioned tech platforms, so important. It's so important for growth, for confidence. When we went from sort of Victoria state, then we went into interstate to, I think Sydney was our first franchise, etc. Having the ability or the confidence to know that you've got the right technology to, for a couple of things would be from a, one, a payment gateway side of things, and being able to grow and know the numbers, and for the franchisees to see the numbers live, to be able to do, rollover, what we call rollover. So we've got 10,000 kids per week in our program, and they then go from term 1 to term 2. It rolls over automatically. So taking away a lot of administration. So really constantly thinking about what is the hindrance, what's taking a lot of our time. And I know now AI is going to play a big part moving forward in helping with these sort of things, but it's also looking at what we can do from eliminating things that admin perspective. So I've got this way of thinking where I've got the black, blue, and red. I teach my franchisees this, but sort of a black in my diary, my calendar. I'm very much big on my calendar, but black is future things I'm working on, future earnings. It's always a big part of my diary. But then blue is sort of what we're doing today to bring in the income, and then red is sort of admin, which is things that we need to do, but it's costing us money to have. So having this color coordinated diary calendar, Google Calendar, sort of looks at my week, and I can sort of see also, am I working on future projects? What are we doing today to bring in sort of the income required today? And then where are we with admin? So the admin side of things, I'm always looking at how we could potentially use AI and use other things to lower that side of things as well. So technology is a big part of confidence, growth. So we've got the Move It platform, we've got Op Central, which is all the manuals, online training, audits, communication with the franchisees, online shop for all our merchandise, and then Easel with all our marketing collateral. So this is what's important in our business. But just looking at what you do, what you've got, I think surrounding yourself and having these platforms that are going to allow you to grow with your business, and makes it really easy for the franchisees to be able to do their thing as well, and grow from there. So a very, very important part of the bigger picture as well. So the Move It platform, as I mentioned before, is what's been created, and it's now become its own business. So what became a solution for us, for our business, has now become a white label solution. So the exciting thing for this is now every, not only within Australia, but anything that's happening now is the master franchises are growing. Sportstar, UAE, Sportstar, India, every single master franchise has now licensed the Move It platform. So what became what is a franchise model has now become a bit of a tech platform as a separate business, has enabled me to grow because of that vision and because of that investment that's been done too. So that's a really exciting opportunity that's going to follow through as well. So what's good for your company, your franchise model could potentially be a white label solution that could become something really viable, or it could be part of your strategy, internationally as well. So, I really believe that everyone should look at what they've got and what's been driven in their business from a tech platform perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So our approach, obviously, just looking at all the different things that we do, from training and ongoing support and IT, bit of everything that I've sort of covered through, is important to have, to make sure that I think it's something that you will constantly look at and constantly evolve, and always, once again, think about, you might be 5 or 10 franchises or 15 franchises at the moment. Think about if I'm 100, think about if I'm 200, depending on what it is that you're doing, or 50 or 20, whatever it's going to be. Think about that bigger number when you're making decisions on these things. Don't make a decision for today what's going to happen if you think too small is in 12 months' time, you're going to have these conversations again. And you're going to think, this solution is not working for us. We've now hit this number, or etc. So just having the mindset of thinking forward, bigger, is always going to help you with your growth in making some right decisions today for tomorrow. I think is a crucial part.
Mm.
This is not going to play, I don't think, but this is a bit of AI that we put to play. So this is just me now speaking to we launched in India. It's just me speaking in English, talking about the launch of Allstars Academy. And then as soon as I do it once, the second part of it is me now speaking Hindi. So it's amazing, and it's obviously we made sure that what I was saying in Hindi was exactly what I was saying in English. But the way it was, the way they loved it. The fact that I went to that little bit of trouble to do that, they loved it. It's just sort of I won them over with this opportunity, or with this, idea that I had. It was a bit of fun. But we launched with it, and then I think it gave us a lot of credibility to understand that we're going to move into an international market, how we're willing to adapt. But I think AI, as we all know, is going to play a big part in our businesses. We need to understand it. I'm doing so much work on it at the moment to understand what we're going to implement and what we're not, and making sure we do things. But for anyone that's starting a franchise or is in the earlier stages of their franchise network development, well, you're already going to be taking AI on very, very early. So it'll be something that I would definitely recommend that you do your homework on and research and see what can be done, or what's going to benefit your franchisees and your customers moving forward. I think that's it. So I just rambled on. Sorry, guys, but if there's anything. Any questions or anything we want to talk about?
We've got a few questions, Pete. Thank you for that. That was amazing. I would have loved to have listened to you talking in Hindi, actually. But sorry, everyone, for the tech challenge we had earlier. So Selena's asked a question actually here. Very interesting, Pete. Love how you're evolving your recruitment process here to support your vision. Question for later, which is now, have you found that any original franchise partners are exiting because they're not so aligned with the changes, or are they with you on the journey?
Yeah, good question. So what we do, or what we've done with the changes, is that we do take them on a journey through sort of using times like conferences or other things where we talk about the vision. That's sort of my part, is always talking about the vision and the plan, and how it's always going to be, what's in it for me as the franchisee, what's in it for them. And it's always been something that we've implemented over time as well. So it's not like, today we're football, tomorrow we've been this. It's been a gradual but also informative way where we've utilized certain times where we've been able to slowly but surely bring it to their attention and create the interest from there. Have they left because of the vision? No, everyone's very excited about that. Have people left? Yes, they have. But it's not so much that we're going down this. I'm not happy, because they don't have to change. They could stay as a solo one branded franchisee. They don't have to do anything. So it's more so we're now bringing in more entrepreneurial franchisees that are going, wow, I love cricket, but imagine now I can do cricket and something else, or the more than sport down the track really sets me apart and it allows me to grow, and I'm not stuck in a box. So I think we got the best of both, where they can continue to do one brand, one territory, no problem. But I think it's just having the excitement or the opportunity that they can grow. So hopefully that sort of answers the question, not because of our growth, but it's more because they've decided to move on.
Great. Thank you. I did have a question myself. Thinking about all these brands, like who was your go-to person? Like, how did you think about all these brands to add, especially STEM, if you want to tell us a little bit more about that, and the music and, the gaming? Like, who did you sort of talk to? Was it your kids? Like, what did they like doing?
Yeah, so it's quite a few. I say we've got three key stakeholders. It's our, obviously we've got a very, very extensive database of parents. So all our past and current members. So our marketing team is always sort of doing certain research with them and asking them questions. So we do that quite often. So like I said, we don't go to market and guessing. It's going to market with, asking questions. What other sports do your kids play? What other interests do your kids have? So we do constantly researching. We're pretty fortunate to have a pretty big database of members in our network. So that's one stakeholder. Then it's the schools. So we do the same thing with our schools and sort of seeing where that's at, with the interests of where that lies as well. And then it's obviously our own interest and our own vision that we have, and also looking at market trends and our own sort of studies that we do. Obviously got kids as well, but I started this business before I had kids. So now it's, I've got sort of proof in the pudding of what we're doing, but this began with me being, not having kids. So I'm actually, so that just shows you the passion, where that passion lies. But now having the kids too, you do have that sort of accessibility to sort of see where gaming's at. With STEM as well. Once again, we've gone to market to see which one's the more, what parents are sort of wanting more, and it's STEM and wellness is going to be another second one that we'll release. Is a big one that's going to be pretty exciting as well. But they all have a time that they will be released, and it's just a matter of when we do it, how we do it, etc. But the research comes from multiple different, I suppose, stakeholders that we sort of talk to, and then the timing of it as well, making sure that our modelling, our franchise, what we're doing today is ready for it as well, with everything that we've got in the background. So there's a few things that we need to tweak and add to our platform now, adding more than sport things as well. So there's a bit of work to do in the background.
Yep, great. And speaking of that, another question was, would you be willing to share any recommendations for AI or tech systems that can translate training materials as well? Are there any major players coming into the franchising space?
With AI, and I'm constantly learning in that space. There's a few things that we've got to be not concerned about, just understand. Is the open AI is anything that we're asking the AI stuff and we're getting information. It's open to everyone. So we've got to be very mindful that when we start to do things where, like for example, we've now created an AI. It's called Techni GPT AI. We're going to be looking at things within our business and creating some AI solutions. We're doing that with an organization because it's going to be an enterprise solution, which we will own, which means that no one else, it's protected. So for example, when you start to talk about training and your manuals and our curriculum, if we were to put that all on AI, it's open to anyone to take. So my advice would be to look at enterprise solutions where it's a closed loop, where you will not have your IP and all your hard work just open to the general public, and to do a bit of research when it comes to that and how you approach it would be something that I'm currently doing at the moment too. So I couldn't say on the top of my head, go with this company or that company, but I could do some homework for you and come back to you. But my advice and what we're looking for is that you take your time with it, but at the same time, look at the difference between open AI, which is basically all the stuff that's generating all the information, the questions that you ask it right now, and just gives you all the answers. That's coming from all sources. Where when you're doing something for your own business, protecting that would be, I'd say, an enterprise solution. So just look into that for me.
Yep. Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? Who's got another question? Feel free, if you don't want to type, just to take yourself off mute and ask a question.
Hey Peter, this is Samil from Growth Life.
Hey,
But
Smil.
you got a bit of a aggressive target from 300 to 1,000 by 2025. How do you plan to do so? Because it involves, like, if somebody comes on board, there needs to have a right site in place, and everything as well. So how do you manage all of that logistics side of it as well?
Yeah,
Yep.
With our modeling or our model, if we just had every franchise location take on over the next 2 years, take on one or two other brands, we're already going to hit that target. That's without any other one else coming through. So the way that we've set it up is allowing us to have growth within the existing. I'm not saying they're all going to take one or two, but they will, and they could. And I find that as we're evolving and we're bringing on other brands, sports brands, or the modern sport, we've already got so many of them saying to us, when is that coming to, when is it ready? We want that too. So it's your existing franchisees being able to become multi-brand, and that's what we've created. So then we've already got the schools, we've already got the customers. It's now adding another brand to the portfolio. Enables us to have obviously some substantial growth, and then there's the recruiting of new franchisees that are coming on board, which we have a lot of interest that's coming through constantly, that we go through the usual channels of seeing on bringing them on. So they're the two main ways of obviously from our recruiting side of things. But yeah, our existing franchisees becoming multi-brand or multi-site is definitely the way for most of our growth.
Yep, good answer. Good. Last chance to ask a question of Peter.
Hi, Peter. This is Carla from Franchise Ready. I'm just thanks so much for going over your journey. I'm just interested to understand whether you have any learnings or I guess things that you could share with particularly our emerging franchisors. So franchisors that are at the start of their journey, in terms of how they leveraged people in their business, and whether that be internally to support their growth, or albeit through external partners. If you have any advice to share, that'd be really great.
Yeah, I think the beginning is always the hardest part of really getting people to believe in your vision and your business, and for someone to come on board and invest in a franchise. So if I look back, and our first couple were people that did work for us. You hear that quite often. Some really good sort of employees or head coaches that we had that we helped support them, and then they ended up sort of owning and progressed with their pathway, helping them own their own franchise. And then we did have on the back of that, we did have some people that invested in early. But I think I think you'd be looking at your internal team that you're able to help grow. That's also going to only help your franchise, because you're going to have some franchisees on the board, but also you're not going to lose them, and you're helping them grow, and that they know your DNA, they know the passion you've had, them, they've been the right one. So working, from an emerging franchisee, I'd be looking at my current team and seeing who could take on and how I could help them have a franchise. And there might be one or two that I need to start to scale and grow initially.
Great, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Carla. All right. Well, I think we might sort of end it there. And I did write I wrote down one of your quotes, Peter, that I thought really did sum up, for the franchising community as a whole and why we do this. And you said that's to assist them and help them to own their own business.
Yeah.
Which is something that you do day in, day out. And I think that's excellent. And also giving you know, a franchisee, of which I have been one, but the opportunity to be a multi-site and even multi-brand franchisee is extraordinary. So well done. Well done, Peter. And wow, we did learn a lot there, didn't we? How many brands can we all fit in into our current brand?
Yeah,
So
that's
thank
it.
you, Peter.
Something to take away.
Speaking of, oh, this is not multi-brand, this is one big brand that we're talking to next month. So our next one is, our host is McDonald's, and Samantha and her team are going to jump on next month and talk about recruitment, you know, recruiting new franchisees. And so very exciting to have a listen to how the powerhouse, you know, McDonald's does this themselves and what help they get in order to do that. And I think you got another thank you. Amazing, Peter. So good. Congratulations and all the best for the future.
Thank you.
That's from Selena. So thank you. And thank you very much, everyone.
Great to have you.
See
Thanks
you.
a lot, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.